I've been waiting far too long to wish it might be wrong. I've been waiting for my turn.
I guess this is my turn, finally. You know who it is, bitch. Blessings on blessings on blessings. I done learned so many lessons. Bitch on my lap, should be flexing. I know this shit be depressing. Trusting myself, no more guessing. Writing songs just to get along. Don't be alarmed, it's been so long, but I'm stronger now. Blessings on blessings on blessings. I done learned so many lessons. Bitch on my lap, should be flexing. I know this shit be depressing. Trusting myself, no more guessing. Writing songs just to get along. Don't be alarmed, it's been so long, but I'm stronger now. Thinking out loud like a criminal. Breaking this pain is subliminal. Blast from the past, man, it's seminal. Shit on my life, what a miracle. Me and my boys to the pinnacle.
We're really excited to see you, compete for the second time in Cage Fury Fighting Championship. And before we sort of get to that, I'd just like to, sort of get an idea of your background, how you got into this for our viewers, so that we get a slight introduction to you. So
I started with like karate, like different forms, Kyokushin, Bujiryo, Ishinryo, and stuff like that. In that, I honestly didn't do too much sparring. Like I did sparring, but I didn't compete too much in sparring. It was like mostly like katas, but I did compete in sparring. Like in India also, like I flew to the US now and competed. But that was like the first thing my parents could like put me in. Like my mom saw like some karate teachers and like something in the US. She got impressed. She's like, "Oh, put you in karate." So I was born in the US actually.
Right.
Yeah. So over there, I was born in the US, and then I moved back very young to Chennai because of some things. So that time I joined karate over there, and then I came back over here. Then what did I do? Then I started competing in taekwondo in like CBSE meets and stuff. In that, I didn't win any national medals, but like I qualified for nationals and I lost there. But yeah, I got some taekwondo experience. And then I think at this time I started, I think combat kinetics was in Chennai. It was just starting, like literally like, there was nothing there, like something like that. And I think in school, like towards like 12th standard or something like that, I started like forcing my, like I just started going here and there some classes. But during school itself, I started like going and training with combat kinetics people. It was wild space. The first time I went to know, like it was insane. I went and I trained and I went to some sparring class. I got beat the shit up, and then I was like, oh, I see all these people here, like nice training. And then after that, after my college started is when I started training properly in MMA.
Right.
Like not properly, I started going to like regular classes with combat kinetics and stuff like that. So that's where I started MMA. I think just from taekwondo, I think I did judo also in school here and there.
Okay.
So I had the transition just best. Basically, I just wanted like more type of fighting, sparring. I always had like this weird obsession, like this weird thing towards like fighting and like grappling and stuff like that. I don't know how to. It was just there inside me.
Understood. I mean, I can totally get it because, like, I guess competition, if you're competing at such a young age, like some people take to it, some people don't, and you clearly took to it. So there must have been that hunger to compete.
No, but there was obviously the compete energy was there, but I think the shock, like I remember one instance clearly, like one moment clearly in my life, because I was doing all this judo, taekwondo, boxing. And boxing, the fights have been pretty like intense and stuff, where you kind of understand how it feels to get hit for real and stuff. But then I remember once, like during summer, I used to travel to Thailand from India because it's really cheap to go train there and stuff. And I trained with some like professional fighters over there. And then I was like, shit, like, do I really want to be doing this right now?
Right.
Because like I understood, like I think up until then I was kind of like, I don't know if you had this when you were growing up. I had a point where I was growing up where I was just doing my thing, chilling, whatever I want. And suddenly like my adult mind kicks in. I'm like, shit, the shit's like serious. You know what I mean? And and then like I understood like fighting is the serious sport. I think up until then I was just doing it for like kind of like the fun. I wasn't really like, like I was I don't know. It was like obviously the side of me which was interested in martial arts, but also there was a side of me like, oh, like like fighters, like I should fight, like it's fun or something like that. I was learning it like that at like maybe like at that time, like part of me for the wrong reasons was kind of pursuing it.
Right.
And then after that, I feel that's when my real learning started. And I was like, dude, if I have to compete with people who are actually trying to like hurt me,
Yeah, take your
I
head.
have to have I have to like really start training properly and like learn things, because I knew technique. I mean, obviously there's weight, power, and all, but you have to have some sort of like, if you believe in martial arts, you know that there's something just more than skill and strength and all.
For
So if you believe
sure.
in
For
martial arts,
sure.
you like,
Yeah.
yeah, you have like, yeah, I believed in martial arts. So I was like, okay, let's start figuring this shit out. And I feel that's when like I really got into MMA. I start like fighting at a good level, state championships, open nationals. I traveled to Russia and I competed here in the Thailand. I competed here, and then yeah, I got a taste of the real thing, and I was like, okay, let's just. It feels really good and feels like something which I'm having fun doing, and yeah, just continue.
Wow. Thank you. Like, thank you for tracing that back for us, because like that's what I was trying to think. That's what I was thinking of, because from what I understand, in 2021 you make the decision to go to Virginia Falls and Falls Church and
Yeah, so I wanted to go before itself. So my plan was in my head, like my dream plan. Like when I was in 12th standard itself, I was like, with my dad, I took one deal. I was like, I'll finish my engineering for you guys, and
uh,
then after that, you just let me go and like, give me like 3-4 years to like try my shit in MMA, and we'll see what happens. Like, yeah, I was looking at like TriStar, High Elevation in Colorado, Cory's team. But then since this thing, they had like this internship program, and I just applied to that. And they were like, yeah, come here and we have to see you train, obviously, and then if it's a good fit, we'll continue and we'll give you like a small intern role. You can kind of teach here and there, like that, they said, but they didn't confirm anything. But then so I went there, and then it was perfect. It like I gelled really well with the academy. I liked how they taught and how this thing, and then I became like a striking coach in their
yeah.
academy for a while. Yeah.
It's nice because that's what like that sounds so amazing. Like the what are the chances that all of these things could work out together? Like especially the fact that you have a striking background, then you end up being able to find a gym next to your wife's college and it's a gym which is going to focus on grappling. Like that's some really like that's really cool. Like I'm happy that it turned out that way. And as you
Dude,
mentioned.
I'm also very happy.
Yeah, I mean, as as you mentioned, you casually mentioned Corey's name, but I'm pretty sure like people here are wilding out when they hear what like when you say Corey, you mean Cory Sandhagen, like who's one of the top
Yes.
UFC bantamweights like right now, and
Yeah.
so that speaks to the kind of partners that you might run into training, in 50/50 Academy. So could you sort of like discuss how the different kind of training methods and the approach in the academy along with different partners has elevated your game? Obviously, like in terms of performance, we can see that. But if you could like
Yeah.
put it into words, how do you think you've been able to specifically like improve your game here?
Like honestly, with obviously, like, so Ryan is really good friends with Cory and Tanli and a lot of other good like professional fighters, and so they train together a lot. They're like all like train with each other. Ryan goes and trains with them, and obviously Ryan like imparts his knowledge in grappling with them and helps them out for their fights too. So, but
Right.
honestly, I don't train with them a lot. When they come here, like we just like get like some technical rounds in or some sparring in, and that's all. Obviously, just from like I'm very grateful to just have the opportunity like spar with them and like get what it feels like. And obviously, that sparring itself you learn so much from, and you get to see like what the level is, and like, oh shit, like so much more to catch up, stuff like that. And so that in that way, that's been helpful for me. But in the gym itself, like there are a lot of people. When I came to the gym, I used to get like everyone in the gym used to just like kill me. Like, like, like the level of jiu-jitsu was just really good, and you could see the way that it was taught also is kind of different from what I learned from instructionals or what I see from other academies. I
Right.
feel Ryan's approach or Ryan's system or 50/50, like it's kind of approach is very like principles and like concepts, not more like principles, and kind of like it's not like this move, that move, this move, that move, this move, that move. Obviously, the moves
Yeah.
exist in some certain order or pattern, but
Yeah.
you go to the base of like why each move works. You kind of understand why everything kind of works, and then you can kind of express it in, and then you understand why it expresses in different systems and different patterns.
Right.
And then you can kind of apply it in different ways without really like thinking, oh, like put your hand over there. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
so that can be kind of neurotic sometimes. Yeah, it can be kind of neurotic. Like you just try to like like mind load with so many systems, and you have to think before doing everything. This is more like you learn and you feel, and you clearly understand the intention of what you're doing, what moves you're doing, or how you're positioning your body or whatever.
Right. I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I've heard coaches mention concept, and actually it makes sense. Conceptually, learning something does make a lot of sense because then you're able to apply it in different scenarios without, as you mentioned, having to think of every specific move. Oh, this hand will go here, this hand will go there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And I mean, so okay, so you received your purple belt, I believe in 2023, and if I'm not wrong, a few months before that you decided to go pro. So as you had mentioned here in my previous question, in your answer, you mentioned that you said, okay, I'll go to the US, I'll figure this out. If something works out, I'll come back. Like if something doesn't work out, I'll come back, bro, whatever. So clearly, while training here, at some point, you decided, bro, let's jump into this. And okay, another thing that I really want to sort of point out to our viewers as well is that competing on an in an like in a domestic circuit in the US is very different compared to competing in the domestic circuit in our country. So that is also a sort of that, in my opinion, that points out to how seriously you as a fighter are taking this. Specifically choosing to go to the US and deciding to compete there, as opposed to some fighters who I can mention now. Like we have a few fighters who train in the US and actually come to India to compete, which is sort of,
Oh,
counterproductive in my opinion. So when did you finally decide after you reached Falls Academy, Falls, Virginia, to decide to go pro? Like, okay, this is it. I'm jumping into this.
yeah. So, dude, like you know how like nothing was seriously like planned in like different steps and all. It was literally like things kind of just happened. I was training, and then I was like fixing different holes in my game. I got a big injury. I was just doing my life over here,
Hmm.
and then like obviously I had a plan of going pro, and then after a point I was trying to get amateur fights over here before I went pro. But because I had good experience fighting in India, I had like good like lot of fights, right? And Thailand, I had like some, I don't know, some 20 plus fights or whatever. So in the US they have amateur rankings, so it was hard for me to get a fight. No one wanted to fight
Yeah,
a
yeah,
very
yeah.
experienced amateur that well, and like yeah, it was like, so I couldn't get an amateur fight. That's why like it took me a while to compete, but obviously it all ended up properly. Ryan told me, like I asked, and he said, and after a point, like in me training over there and kind of polishing some of my grappling knowledge, he was like, yeah, you're like I think you're ready to go pro. You're like, as long as we pick the right fights, we're good.
Right.
And yeah, it wasn't like some tongue like one bulb, like, oh, now let's go pro
Yeah.
sort of a thing. He was just, we were just training, and then one day he was like, so like you can go pro, like you have the thing. And then slowly just I think one I was reaching out for amateur fights, I couldn't get. And one day I was like, like this guy was like, yeah, it's some pro fight. I mean, the next card there's a pro fight. Do you want to do it? I asked Ryan, he was like, yeah, cool. And I was like, fine, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I assume that, yeah, there won't be a specific moment like that, but clearly, like your coach showing his confidence in you, and also I'm sure like other indicators were there which allowed you to jump into this. So I was a
Yeah,
bit,
I felt comfortable if training with like I spar with a lot of people over here.
yeah,
This my grappling felt a little bit calm. I was able to maintain more composure instead of being kind of spastic on the ground. Still
right.
spastic, but not too spastic on the ground. Yeah, so then yeah, I just felt pretty comfortable. And from the first to this fight itself, there's been such a huge growth. I'm like, oh shit, like why the hell did I go pro then? I should have gone pro now, sort of a thing.
How would you describe your style like when it comes to fighting, like, and
Like, okay, I did not like getting hit. Like there are some people who I fight who they like, like punching and punching back, and kind of like that, or like they're not worried about getting hurt too much. Like it's
yeah,
kind of like a trading game.
you're right.
I think trading is fine as long as it's like your legs or body here and there. Like your armor is fine, but I don't like getting trade. I don't like trading like shots to my head
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And I think that has kind of influenced the way I fought initially, like kind of striking movement, picking my points, scoring well, throwing like sharp weapons which with good range.
100%. I agree. Yeah.
That has kind of been my style in striking. And now in grappling, I'm still working on my ground game. I'm just trying to be good at different parts of the game and like weaponize certain things on the ground, just like my low kick. So
Yeah.
if I can get the fight to those positions, I should win. Like
Right.
no matter how good you are. Like this is one of like Ryan's things where like he talks about, which is like really good, is like um you just need to get really good at certain things. And if you get really good at those certain things, like and you get really good at it, it should work on anyone. And if you can kind of mold your game around getting your getting your fights to those parts of your game,
It's like,
then you should like have better chances winning.
yeah, like, okay, I get what you're trying to say. Like, get into your spots, like in basketball, how they say get to your spot. Like, so essentially,
Yeah, get your
yeah,
spots. Like, yeah,
yeah,
so if I'm able to, keep the fight a little bit long, find those low kicks, or like what I'm giving strategy or whatever. Like, say I have a really good, like, I don't know, I have a really good, I don't know, front kick to the face. Like, trying to find that is like, it's very hard to defend. But, like, finding those points, that will be a good strategy because I can throw it as long as I keep range. And if you're there, I'm just going to throw it. I'm going to score. It's a long range weapon. Same
yeah,
thing on the ground. See, I know like some XYZ position better than you. It's
right,
like, you know,
100%. All right, yeah. So that's what. I mean, and okay, 1 second. This call might just end up. I'm taking too much of your time, so I might have to send you a link again. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Okay,
yeah.
it ends in train. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, because I was going to say that too. Like, I think your awareness, like your cage awareness, is really cool to see. Like the you when I was watching your fight against I can't remember his name, but the previous fight in that, like as you mentioned, that you from what I've also seen, a lot of opponents come crashing towards you, and you were able to very well like move very well out of not only out of range but get back into range and then snipe him and counter him. So I do think
Mm.
like I find your style personally, I find it very entertaining. Some people would might want more action and more damage, but as you
Mm.
mentioned, everyone has their own style. So I really appreciate that. All right, so I'll try to speed it up. And
Yeah, I think I'm also like talking a lot. I usually don't talk this much.
no, it's fine. I'm really enjoying it. So it's not an
Yeah.
issue at all. Uh, what are your thoughts on this opponent of yours? His name is Adamu Isah, if I'm not wrong. This guy's from Killcliff
Adamu
FC.
Isah.
Yeah, Killcliff FC. He trains under what's his name? Henry Hoof.
Kill Club, no?
Yeah,
Kill
Killcliff.
FC.
Yeah,
No,
Killcliff.
I'm not sure. Kill Cliff, my bad.
Killcliff. Yeah, Henry Hoof. He
Correct.
trains under. Like one of
Yeah.
the best gyms in the US, or at least like
Yeah, dude.
UFC has one of the best gyms. Like Gilbert
Yes.
Burns, Michael Chandler. These guys have big dogs. Like, so
Yeah.
did you know of this guy from before, and have you done your research on him? What do you think of him?
I mean, obviously, I've done my research on him.
Yeah.
I knew before, like, in the sense, I think before, like, when matching up, like, previous opponents, he also was, like, in the, like, a lot of fighters who were in that category who people were kind of trying to match up. So I saw him then, and then this fight, like, they asked me if you wanted to fight him. I was like, sure. We saw his footage, and we were like, yeah, this should be a good matchup. And yeah, I did like, dude. Yeah, I studied him properly.
100%. Okay, that's great to hear. So you mentioned that you check out his matchup. So
Yeah.
you watch tape on him, and you think this is a good matchup. Like one of the first things that comes to mind is that I noted about him is he also has a striking background. In fact, the dude is
Yeah.
black belt in Taekwondo or something. Like how do you think that affects the where the game plays out, the fight plays out? Because often we've seen like um they say when there's two wrestlers, it ends up being a striking match. What do you think happens when there's two like really dialed in strikers? Because this guy's like vicious, like he likes to throw long kicks like from far, and like he also likes to keep his distance. This could very well end up in being like a stalemate, like if someone doesn't really like force the issue. So
Uh, like I don't want to talk about it too much now. We can have another call after the
fair
fight,
enough,
and then
fair
I'll
enough,
like
fair enough, fair enough.
I'll tell you like whatever I think about his style. But I think it can go everywhere because he also grapples. He's won some fights where he does good like body lock takedowns and he holds the fight down. So he also he's a very like kind of a well-rounded fighter.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's going to be like too much stalemating. I think like it's going to be a good fight where stuff is going to happen.
Yeah. All right. My next question would be, so this fight is at a catchweight, right? And
Yeah.
is there a specific reason? Obviously, the card is damn like very close, so I understand that. But could
No, it wasn't because of that. I can make 136, and I'm pretty sure he can make 136 too or
okay,
135. It's
okay,
just that I even for the previous fights, I always like after the fight gets fixed, I send a message to my opponent on Instagram, which they never reply to, or they get pissed off and they send it to like the director, or they make some deal, or they unfollow me or block me or whatever. I send a message saying, "Yo, like, see, this is my walk around weight. I walk around at like, dude, like some 152, 153 is probably the same. It's not like a too crazy weight cut."
right,
But I don't understand the point if both of us are walking on the same weight anyway. Like, let's just fight at 140. Like, why do you want to cut to 135?
yeah,
Like, chumma, like, like if both of us are kind of the same weight, like, what is the point? The only reason you need to make that weight is actually if you need to, like, it's for the championship belt.
right,
And it's for, like, yeah. So, yeah, for the championship belt, you need to make the weight.
right,
And obviously, it's good to do that once and fight to get that experience of how it feels to cut to 135 and then fight. But I feel like it doesn't. It maybe affects. I don't know. I don't think it affects me too much because I kind of dialed it down. But it's the process of it sucks. Like you're dying. I was like, why do you want to do that before you're fighting if you don't need to? So I just said let's do 140, and this guy was game enough to just agree. Because usually all the guys are no, this guy is too big or something, and they don't like agree to it because they think like the weight plays a significant advantage. I don't think like 5 pounds should play that much of. Maybe it does. I don't know, but in my head it doesn't play
right.
too much. Like I'd rather not like suffer like that. Do the last 5 pounds is like just like why are we doing this? Like so every time I wait cut, I'm like, this is the most stupidest thing in the world. Like why are we doing this? Like like every time I always like go to the same loop. I'm like,
Yeah.
like this is the most stupidest part of the sport sort of thing. So yeah, that's why I asked him if he can do. He said he was game to do 135 or 140. So I was like, cool, let's do 140.
Perfect. Okay. Especially for fighters in India, like there's a lot of other things. Like it seems like there's a battle before you even like get to fight. Like there's only so many things that these fighters are dealing with, and I've noticed that there are a few fighters like this in India as well. But I've noticed that uh, you are also one of those fighters who makes it a point to work on developing themselves like holistically, right? So, what would be your advice for younger and up and coming fighters who are like, apart from the gym, like training is important, yes, and like everything else is when it comes to the being in the gym is important, but like for example, like I know for a fact that you like to spend time away from devices as much as you can and stuff like that. So, what would be some of your suggestions? Because this is such an intense sport. There's so many highs and lows, and I've met a lot of athletes, young athletes, who get depressed because they don't get fights. There's so many different
Hmm.
things going on. So, what would be your advice for such up and coming young fighters?
I think like in the basic terms, you would just say like you have to like expand your knowledge of yourself and everything around you. The more you understand yourself and like you understand this machine like in which you're like kind of in, you'll be able to handle your situations better and you'll kind of find your path better. But in the like more like specific sense, you have to like really ask yourself if you're doing this for the right reasons, whether you really love the sport or whether it's like I don't know, you're just chuma doing it.
Hmm.
You'd want to um because it is a very serious sport, and unless you have like a thing for fighting, like you like fighting like that, like you kind of cuckoo in the head, then only you should like probably like move forward with the decision of this. And I would say having a really good coach obviously makes all the difference. Like you have a really good coach, it obviously helps a lot. But you being your own coach too, keeping yourself accountable for things is really good. Like not getting into your ego too much. I think one another thing which really helped me or took a lot of time for me to kind of understand or apply, which I still sometimes don't apply. It's like the training room is for learning and training. There's no like obviously you want to compete in these times to compete in the um, training room. But when you're trying new shit or you're trying stuff like this, it's like you have to be willing to like try stuff in the gym. Like it's the place where you try stuff. You can compete, try whatever you want, but and if something happens to you in the gym, you get tapped or you get like put in a joke or you get hit pretty well, that shouldn't affect your confidence of who you are as a fighter, right? Otherwise, you just be kind of like when scared cat in the gym and it's like you don't open up and try new things. I'm not saying like don't be competitive in the gym, don't do stuff like that, but be open to build your stuff and try new things, experiment. These things would be it's like be a scientist for your own sport. It's like they take it like a 9 to 5 job. You want to go back home, you want to watch fights, you want to see what works. And I feel another thing like would be instructionals obviously help a lot, and you can learn knowledge from what people are trying to say. But actually watching athletes compete in the sport live with some slow motion, watching full fights, that has helped me a lot also. You kind of see what they actually do in the ring, and that takes some patience and actual real love for the sport. Like you really like interested in the knowledge of the sport, then you'll probably end up doing this anyway. And for me, it's like I generally have that curiosity every day. And honestly, like for me at least, like I just want to become a really good fighter. Obviously, like it's good to like be and beat up people and do all this and compete and all that stuff. But I just want to be a really good martial artist. And I feel focusing on that, like learning how to do this, how to do that, in terms of being a better martial artist, will help you like just grow. Like things will automatically happen. Like you'll get better instead of just you focusing on getting better, not getting tapped and stuff like that. Just focusing on why stuff happens without, like getting attached to losing, winning, and stuff like that initially.
Thank you for that specific answer. Like, one of my last few questions would be like, again, miscellaneous sort of questions. From what I remember, you had a very intense injury
Yeah.
just before you kicked off your professional career, actually, which is really flipped because I believe in November 2022, you hurt your back. And then
Yeah.
after that, like, you made your pro debut in April and
Yeah.
fought 5 times in 18 months. So, like, you've obviously done something really well.
Yeah.
Talk about, talk to
Yeah, I think that injury really woke me up in terms of how I was training. It's like a big like mindset shift in my opinion, because I think before that I was just training kind of like hard. I had like some beliefs which kind of like kind of misaligned with how I trained, and that used to like train make like help me, like it would probably make me push myself more than I need to, like do things. I wasn't like kind of organized with my sleep properly, a little bit stressed with a lot of other things in life, and it really got to me. And I used to train despite having a lot of like pains in my body. I used to like have like this kind of attitude of like, oh, nothing's gonna happen, sort of a thing. And then once that happened, it got pretty serious. And um I think from then I learned to like kind of chill out a little bit, be more in the moment of what I'm kind of doing, learn a little bit slowly, not force, like actually like learn more about like another thing I would say to a lot of fighters is just like knowledge on like the blueprint of your body, like how your body functions, like knowledge on that, um like how to breathe better, how to like really understanding posture, not just like just standing straight, like kicking your shoulders back and stuff like that. Just really learning your anatomy either by someone who really knows it, or like from just self study, learning from books, self awareness and stuff like that. Like learning how to recover, what is recovery, what are the different type of nervous systems like you kind of have, like parasympathetic, sympathetic, like where you're chronically kind of stressed, or whether after training you can like actually chill out and bring your body back to a parasympathetic state so you can recover better. Whether you're able to breathe into different parts of your spine so you can maintain good posture. Just different stuff like that, whether everything's kind of activated in your body, whether you're using a hip flexors to bend forward or bend back. So like there's so many things which I've learned and I've applied to myself, and like I've just grown in knowledge that way, which one, I'm able to train better, and like two, my moves just come out better because like my body's moving how it's supposed to move, opposed to me kind of forcing things.
right.
I think that is a big that injury really woke me up to those things. And once I started getting in line with like how my body works properly, how to like make my brain work properly, you know, how to like use the tools I have instead of like sometimes I feel like our brains get the better of us and we just like it fucks with us a lot or like it might cause us to go through like some weird things we really don't need to give that much energy to. But
Yeah.
yeah, learning to learning to like have a better relationship with yourself. Those things really like uh, pointed me in the right direction in terms of how to train, what moves to practice, better understanding of the moves themselves, because slowing down. Because like if you're always kind of stressed, I'm thinking of like, oh, I need to win this fight, I need to hit this move, I need to do this, I need to do that. You're not actually seeing what's happening in the move when you're actually studying it. You're lost like the thing to like actually study something or
Right.
understand. So I think that really helps a lot. And yeah.
Everyone knows in today's time anyone gets into this sport like they're aiming to go to the top, but like do you have like a window time frame that you have in mind? Because obviously you're not overlooking your opponent, but do you have like a time frame in mind? Okay, by this time I want to be in this promotion, because we have to acknowledge the fact that the promotion that you're in right now is a step up as well. Like Cage Fury Fighting Championship is really a step up. It serves as a feeder league to the UFC. So do you see like a blueprint for yourself, like for the next few years? Like, how do you want to go about this career?
Dude, I honestly like I can't really predict anything. Like it's there's no point in me like trying to forecast like more than 1 or 2 steps ahead of me. Like there's literally no point of it and it kind of ruins the journey. That's how I kind of feel now. So I'm just taking it like one step at a time. Every fight I get, I'm enjoying the process of like studying the opponent, learning this, learning that, and hopefully like things will just speak for themselves. Like things will align how they're supposed to align if I'm just enjoying myself and doing what I have to do. A lot of fighters, I kind of put the whole financial aspect of fighting, like the responsibility of finances with fighting. I
Yeah.
think that thing is like, I don't know, like maybe it works out for some people, like I don't know, Conor McGregor, or like other people who like just get like, they're fortunate enough to have support to like get to a point in the career where fighting can make them money.
Hmm.
But I think you should take like responsibility, like without expecting like money from this from that. Maybe like we need to make money some other way, make money some other way. Like get creative in different aspects of your life so you can create value and like improve your finances that way. Instead of like I feel that was one thing where like I've seen a lot of people have problems with it, and I've myself from experience too, just like, oh, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make money from this, and I have to like, and then that creates a lot of pressure too. Like this sport, you have to enjoy it and do it, and then it'll speak for itself, and things might come like that. Like that's how it's supposed. If like it's going into the right path and you're doing the right things at the right time because you actually enjoy it. But putting like like the money pressure because of that is just, I feel that especially in India, a lot of people probably put this pressure on themselves. I would say start creating value, like learn more things in life, like learn how to make yourself better so you make other people better. You know what I mean? Like learn
Hmm.
other ways to create value and like you know what I mean. Just don't. Yeah, I think I made my
No, no,
point.
no, it's cool, it's cool. Yeah, I think that's very realistic advice, because you're right. Like with this sport, like expanding at the rate that it is, maybe everyone is not going to get an opportunity to make like a complete living out of this sport, like unless they really go to the top. So that's really some insightful advice. So thank you for that. And like, of course, we've been having this conversation for a long time. I really enjoyed it. Before we end it, like I would be amiss if I didn't ask you for your prediction for your fight. So if you do have a prediction, please share it with us. Yeah, go ahead if you have a prediction.
Mm, let's see. The thing is, I don't have anything specific. I just know my A games really well, and I
Right,
know I'm going to get to spots where which I've trained and I have like I'm sharpest in certain parts of my game.
right.
But without being specific, I feel like the fight's going to get finished.
Okay.
Or if it doesn't get finished, like I should be good in every position for 3 unanimous rounds. But I'm not like I don't know. You know what I mean? But stuff will happen.
Yeah, I stuff will happen. That we all know for sure. All right.
Yeah, whatever
All
happens, stuff will happen. Like we will fight.
right.
It's
All
not going to
right.
be like a stalemate or something.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So thank you so much, Kaushik. Like once again, man, like thank you for taking out the time. I know um this like, and actually it's great that we ended up doing this. To be honest, I've been up all night because I was covering Malla Yuddha. I don't know if you remember Malla Yuddha, which takes place here. Like it's this tournament covered by tournament hosted by Jitesh, Coach Jitesh, the guy who runs Combat Sports Academy, Indian Combat Sports
Yeah.
Academy. So that's why I was like, I was up at 5. I was quite lucky. Like the fact that you messaged me that time, I was like,
Yeah, I was like, who's this dude fucking awake at 5 a.m.? Yeah, let's have an interview with him. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, so I mean, I really appreciate you taking out the time, man. Like, I really enjoy doing this, and it was a privilege and an honor to talk to you. Obviously, from my side, I wish you all the best, and I really do want to talk to you after this fight is over, so we can discuss how you were able to execute the plan that you had. I mean, yeah, like if there's any message that you would have for, people back home, you can end with that, and we'll end this call then.
Just watch me fight.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, and I'll be trying to get everyone to, keep an eye on that for sure. Even though time
Yeah.
is the timings and everything, I'll try to share on the page. And yeah, man, thank you so much once again. I
Thank
wish
you for having me, reaching out to me, and having making this happen.